Okay, which is a feature of eukaryotic cells but not prokaryotic cells? So this is callback from your cell chapter. What do eukaryotic cells have but not prokaryotic cells? Membrane-bound organelles is correct. Remember that eukaryotic cells are definitely going to be more complex. They're going to be larger, and they have membrane-bound organelles. Both prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells have a plasma membrane. Some students forget that. They both have a plasma membrane. Remember that life needs a little compartment in order to keep all those polymers. The plasma membrane is going to be that compartment. Both of them have it. So I now have a chart that's going to be a little bit more detailed to the one that I presented to you previously, now that we're discussing different organisms. So we're going to compare prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. Let's see, do I have highlights here? I don't, so I'm just going to talk through it. So for prokaryotic cells, all of them are unicellular. You will only find this living organism as a one-cell critter. For eukaryotic cells, they can either be unicellular. These are most protists that are going to come on in the later lecture, and some fungi, yeasts, are unicellular, or eukaryotes can be in the form of a multicellular organism. These are plants, fungi such as molds, animals like you guys. Comparing prokaryotes and eukaryotes, this is a nice short answer response. Prokaryotes evolved first. Prokaryotes are going to be bacteria and archaea. Eukaryotes are protists, plants, fungi, animals, basically everything else. Prokaryotes are smaller and simpler, with eukaryotes being larger and more complex. I do want to point out that both of them have a plasma membrane. Prokaryotes do not have membrane-bound organelles, so they don't have mitochondria, chloroplasts, they don't have endoplasmic reticulums, they don't have a nucleus. Those are all membrane-bound organelles. Eukaryotes do. Both of them have ribosomes. I also want to point that out. Okay. Let's look at the structure of a prokaryotic cell. So first thing I want to point out is the plasma membrane of this prokaryote. That's this light yellow color structure here, kind of more internal to the cell. Very thin wall is a plasma membrane. Next up I have a cell wall. That's going to provide rigidity. Remember, high cellulose concentration for that prokaryote. The cell wall is also going to provide a lot of protection for that organism. Remember that prokaryotes existed in early Earth before eukaryotes did. That was quite a hostile environment, and so we actually have more protective structures seen in these guys. Ribosomes definitely have ribosomes. They're going to help make proteins and synthesize them. These guys definitely have ribosomes. Instead of a nucleus, we actually have something called a nucleoid region, and the nucleoid region is going to house the chromosome. So in addition, even more protection, the prokaryote can have a capsule. So that's an outer wall that capsulates the entire organism, and this is going to be composed of polysaccharides. This is going to provide much protection in those harsh environments that prokaryotes usually find themselves in. Some additional structures that prokaryotes may or may not have. Fimbriae is a good example. These are attachment structures, little projections that we see throughout the cell body of the prokaryote. Flagella. Some prokaryotes might have these tail-like structures that are going to help them propel, especially through aquatic-like environments. Three common shapes that prokaryotes can have are spherical, rod-shaped, or spiral. Your spherical bacteria, an example is Staphylococcus aureus here, are circular shaped. These are called cocci. Cocci-shaped have that circular structure, and here I'm actually showing you many different types of cocci prokaryotes. Kind of being shown here in these grape-like structures. Usually, even though they're single-celled organisms, they like to attach to friends and family and be found in clusters. These are spherical shaped. Bacilli are rod-shaped prokaryotes. Spirochetes are going to have this corkscrew-like appearance, like we see with Leptospira species. A spiral shape is what these prokaryotes are going to have, these kind of more odd prokaryotes. Usually they're going to be bacilli or cocci shaped.